My name's Monica Hebert. I'm an oil painter. I'm what some consider a career artist, and that is how I make my living, by making art. I've been doing this for many, many years, and I pretty well have stuck just to oils, although I occasionally do some clay sculpting. Art is essential to me as breathing is to me. I'm either making art, marketing art, talking about art, looking at art. There's probably not a minute of my wake day that I'm not doing something with art. It is everything for me. It is a way of creating emotional experiences, and I believe that's all what we're looking for. Everybody's looking for an emotional experience, whether it's through music or through performing arts or through the visual arts, looking for something to catch on to that gives them pause in the middle of a chaotic, hectic day. Stop back, take a breath, and think about things for a little bit and feel good about where they are. If I can accomplish that with just one person, with one of my pieces, then I feel very, very successful, and money has nothing to do with that. Well, everything I do, I think, is creative. I love to cook. I'm full-blood Cajun, so I love to cook the famous Cajun meals. I love to have my grandson in and cook for him. I take a lot of walks in downtown Lynchburg. I spend a lot of time looking at the trees. I call trees the silent centurions of our earth. They take care of us in ways that I don't even think we understand. So I spend a lot of time in parks, walking around, thinking about things. And otherwise, believe it or not, I play a lot of card games on my computer. The practice itself hasn't changed, but the subject has. 20 years ago, everything I did was a landscape. Now, everything I'm doing from a marketing perspective is more flowers, but I always have 2 or 3 projects going, and what that means is I have work going that I plan to sell, and then big pieces that I create that what I call a statement piece. That it's intended to evoke something and make a statement about something that I feel strongly about. So those subject matters are a little bit nebulous and different, but my subject matters these days are a lot of florals and botanicals and what people would call wall decor. Why? Because I'm being commissioned to do these a lot, and it's my joy to do that for these people. So hey, I get to create something they find beautiful for their home, and I get paid for it, and then I'll go later on and work on my statement pieces, my bigger pieces. But the subject will probably change, but the other thing that changes is color. I love color. There was a time where everything I did was in blues and greens, and right now everything I'm doing is in pinks and reds and purples and lavenders. Those seem to be what's working for me right now, and who knows what the next step will be, but I'm thinking it's going to be black. I have a funny feeling black is coming up. Huge, huge. I don't pretend to think it is essential like the medical workers or the police officers or the firemen. Here's a thing to consider. When 9/11 happened, and I lived there, by the way, and that's my birthday. The very first thing that happened from the governor while everything was being taken care of at the site by all of the different emergency agencies whose job it was to be there, the governor called the head of Lincoln Center, and they quickly, within 48 hours, put together a huge program of music with the New York Philharmonic to bring everybody together to take a breath and to begin the process of healing. And then right after that happened, many classical pianists in New York City were tapped to go down to the various intersections leading up to the site and play music for people to help people calm down. That particular art form, music, was the leader in the healing that happened in New York City, that allowed people to feel their grief, their anger, whatever they were feeling. The music was helping them work through it, and it happened in all areas of Manhattan. It was a beautiful thing to see, actually. And then, of course, the visual arts took their center stage by holding big shows and galleries. There were street artists out in the street, and they were painting to create pieces that people could feel good again. Because it's hard to live in a city like New York City and live with those towers coming down and hear the F-15 airplanes flying above you and not feel some kind of fear. The artists of New York City came together and in their own unique way, whether it was visual performing arts, led the way towards New York City actually healing. So yeah, art's essential. I defy you to go find a shaving can, a can of shaving cream, and toothpaste, anything. Find anything that's just bland and doesn't have some artwork on it. Some artists created the labels of every product your hand touches. We're essential to the world. Oh, the next 5 years. I think I'm going to be moving more into, I'm in Impressionism now. I think I'm going to be moving more into Expressionism. Just really letting it rip, whatever I think and feel at the moment, just let it rip. Actually, some of my better paintings happened as unplanned pieces of work. I have a painting of the hurricane that I lived through in Louisiana, and I did in a matter of 30 minutes, and it's a big 4-foot piece, but I just put all the fury of what I felt for what that hurricane did to my home. I put it into the canvas, and it now hangs at a private home here in Lynchburg. The owner identified with the fury so much that she had to have it. So I'm thinking that I'm probably going to move more into that kind of work, Expressionism, just let my head and heart have a conversation and let my hands take their lead and see what comes out on the other end. I don't plan. Everything I do is inspired, so I won't know until I do it. Well, I'm launching a new website. It should be up in 2 weeks, but for now you can find me on Facebook as Monica Hebert. That's Hebert, art. And my website is monicahebertart.com. Thank you.
Awesome.